You know what's wild? Right now, as you're watching this, millions of people are secretly wondering the same thing you are. What would actually happen if I just stopped? For 30 days. No excuses, no exceptions. And I'm not here to preach or judge, I'm here to tell you the truth that nobody else is talking about. Because what happens to your mind and body when you stop masturbating for 30 days? It's not what you think. Let me paint you a picture. It's day 3. You're feeling confident, maybe a little too confident. You tell yourself this is easy, right? But then day 5 hits, and suddenly everything feels different. Your brain is fogging up, you're irritable, maybe even anxious, and you're wondering, why does this feel so hard? Here's what's actually happening inside your body right now. Your dopamine receptors, the same ones that light up when you eat your favorite food or win at something, they're recalibrating. See, for years, maybe even decades, you've been giving your brain this massive hit of dopamine on demand, whenever you wanted it, and your brain got used to that. It started expecting it, so when you suddenly stop, your brain is like a kid throwing a tantrum because you took away their favorite toy. It's not weakness, it's biology. But here's where it gets interesting. Around day 7 to 10, something shifts. You start noticing things you haven't noticed in years. Colors look brighter, music hits different, you make eye contact with people, and it doesn't feel weird anymore. There's this energy building inside you, and you don't know what to do with it. Some people call it superpowers. I call it getting back to your natural state. Because here's the truth nobody tells you. When you're constantly releasing that tension, that energy, you're never actually sitting with yourself. You're never dealing with the boredom, the loneliness, the stress, whatever it is you're running from. Masturbation isn't just a physical act, it's an escape. And when you take away the escape, you're forced to face whatever you've been avoiding. Now let's talk about what's happening to your body, because it's not just mental. Your testosterone levels start to stabilize. And I know everyone freaks out about this, but listen, it's not about some magical testosterone spike that makes you a superhero. It's about your hormones finding their natural rhythm again. You might notice you have more energy in the morning. You're waking up ready to attack the day instead of hitting snooze 5 times. Your workouts feel better. You're lifting heavier, running faster, pushing harder. And it's not because you suddenly gained muscle overnight. It's because your body isn't constantly in that post-release recovery mode. You're actually retaining that vital energy that you've been draining away without even realizing it. But here's what really gets me, and this is the part that changed everything for me personally. Around day 15 to 20, you start noticing how you interact with people, especially if you're attracted to them. There's this confidence that wasn't there before. Not the fake performative confidence where you're trying to prove something. I'm talking about the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you're in control of yourself. You're not looking at people as objects anymore, as a means to an end. You're actually seeing them as human beings. And that shift, that changes everything in your relationships. Whether you're single or in a relationship, this is where the real transformation happens. Now, I'm not going to lie to you, the journey isn't smooth. There are going to be days, probably around day 12, day 18, maybe even day 28, where your brain is going to give you every excuse in the book. It's going to tell you this is stupid, that you're overthinking it, that one time won't hurt. And this is where most people fail, because they listen to that voice. But here's what I want you to understand. That voice isn't you. That's your addiction talking. And yes, I said addiction, because if you can't stop doing something for 30 days, if the thought of it makes you anxious or defensive, that's not normal. That's dependency. The crazy thing about hitting day 30, it's not some magical finish line where everything is perfect. But something does happen. You realize you did something most people can't do. You controlled yourself when your body and brain were screaming at you to give in. And that discipline, that self-control, it starts bleeding into every other area of your life. You start waking up earlier because you said you would. You start going to the gym consistently because you committed to it. You start having those difficult conversations you've been avoiding, because you prove to yourself that you can do hard things. And once you know that about yourself, once you really believe it, everything changes. Let me tell you what doctors and scientists are actually finding in research about this, because it's not just bro science anymore. Studies show that when men abstain from ejaculation for periods of time, there are measurable changes in brain chemistry. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and self-control, it actually strengthens. The pathway between seeing a trigger and acting on it, that starts to weaken. You're literally rewiring your brain. And for people who have been dealing with porn-induced erectile dysfunction, or delayed ejaculation, or just feeling numb during real intimate moments, this reset period can be life-changing. Because you're teaching your brain to respond to real human connection again, not pixels on a screen. But let's get real about the challenges, because I want you to be prepared. You're going to have wet dreams, probably multiple times. Don't freak out. It's your body's natural way of releasing what it needs to release. You're going to have moments of intense urges, usually at night when you're alone and bored. This is when you need a plan. Go for a walk, call a friend, do push-ups until your arms give out. I don't care what it is, but have something ready. Because willpower alone isn't enough. You need systems. You need to change your environment. If you always do it in bed before sleep, change your routine, read a book, listen to a podcast, do something different, break the pattern. And here's something nobody talks about, the emotional roller coaster. Some days you're going to feel on top of the world, like you could conquer anything. Other days you're going to feel flat, maybe even a little depressed. That's normal. Your brain is adjusting to producing its own natural dopamine without the artificial spikes you've been giving it. It's like when someone quits sugar, the first week is hell, but then your taste buds reset, and suddenly an apple tastes like candy. Same thing is happening with your reward system. You're recalibrating what brings you pleasure and satisfaction. Now let me tell you what happens in your relationships during this time, because this is huge. If you're single, you might notice you're more motivated to actually go out and meet people, instead of staying home and satisfying yourself artificially. You have this drive that was always there, but you were releasing it privately. Now it's pushing you to take action in the real world. And if you're in a relationship, things can go one of two ways. Either you become more present and connected with your partner, or you realize how much you've been using masturbation as a substitute for real intimacy. Both are valuable realizations. Both will make you grow. Here's what I love about the 30-day mark specifically. It's long enough to break the habit cycle, which neuroscience tells us takes about 21 days, but it gives you that extra week to really solidify the change. It's long enough to see real results in your energy, your confidence, your mental clarity. But it's not so long that it feels impossible before you even start. 30 days is doable. You can mark it on a calendar, you can count down the days, you can wake up each morning and tell yourself, I just need to make it through today. But here's the real question, and I want you to think about this honestly. Why are you even considering this? What are you running from? What are you hoping to find? Because if you're doing this just to see if you can, that's cool, that's a start. But the people who really transform, the ones who make it to day 30 and beyond, they're doing it because they're tired. Tired of feeling controlled. Tired of the shame spiral. Tired of choosing temporary pleasure over long-term fulfillment. They're ready for something more. Are you? Let me share something personal with you. The first time I tried this, I failed on day 9. I felt like a complete failure, but you know what I learned? Failure isn't falling down, it's staying down. I started again. Day 1. Again. And I made it to day 17 before I failed again. Started over. And finally, on my 3rd attempt, I broke through. And that journey, those failures, they taught me more about myself than any success ever could. So if you try this and you fail, don't beat yourself up. Reset and try again. Each attempt makes you stronger. The physical benefits you'll notice by day 30 are real. Better sleep quality, clearer skin because your hormones are balanced, more energy throughout the day, improved focus and concentration, better performance in the gym. But honestly, those are just bonuses. The real transformation is mental and emotional. It's the way you start respecting yourself again. It's the way you look yourself in the mirror and don't feel that twinge of shame. It's the way you interact with the world from a place of abundance instead of desperate need. And here's something fascinating that researchers have found. When you abstain from masturbation and porn, your brain starts to resensitize. Things that used to bore you become interesting again. Conversations become engaging. A sunset actually takes your breath away. You're not numbed out anymore. You're not constantly chasing the next dopamine hit because you've trained your brain that the biggest hits come from artificial sources. You're learning to appreciate the subtle, beautiful, real experiences that life offers. And that's when life starts to feel worth living again. Now, as you approach day 30, you're going to face a choice. Do you go back to your old patterns or do you use this momentum to create a new lifestyle? And there's no right answer. I'm not here to tell you that you need to abstain forever. But I will tell you this. Most people who make it to 30 days don't want to go back. Not completely, because they've tasted freedom. They've felt what it's like to be in control instead of being controlled. And once you know that feeling, it's hard to give it up. The biggest lesson from this entire journey: self-control is a muscle. Every time you choose not to give in, every time you sit with the discomfort instead of escaping, you're making that muscle stronger. And that muscle, that discipline, it affects everything. Your career, your health, your relationships, your dreams. Everything gets better when you get better at controlling yourself. And the beautiful thing is, it starts with one decision, one day at a time. Just for today, I'm not going to do it. That's all you need to think about. Not 30 days from now, just today. So here's my challenge to you. Try it. Not because I said so, not because you think you should, but because you're curious about who you could become. 30 days. Mark it on your calendar right now. Day 1 starts tomorrow. Or if you're feeling bold, day 1 starts right now. And when you feel the urge, when your brain is screaming at you, come back to this video. Read the comments, see how many other people are on the same journey. You're not alone in this. There's a whole community of people fighting the same battle, winning the same war against their own impulses. And when you hit day 30, I want you to come back here and leave a comment. Tell me what changed. Tell me what you learned about yourself. Because your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to start their own journey. We're all in this together, trying to become better versions of ourselves one day at a time. If this video spoke to you, if you're ready to take control of your life, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment and tell me what day you're starting. And subscribe, because I'm dropping videos every week about relationships, self-improvement, and becoming the person you know you're capable of being. This is your life. This is your journey. Make it count.